Hey guys, this is Christina from I Am That I Am Publishing. Hi everyone, how are you today? I hope you're doing awesome. In this video, I am going to talk about, for one, being awake, which many of you are, and that makes total sense. Everyone's having dreams, insights, realizations for their own life. And if you're not and you're feeling really tired and you feel kind of wiped out, that's totally normal. Everything is shifting right now in the entire universe. So if one particle is gonna resonate up to a higher frequency, sooner or later everybody's got to come along with it, right? Or you kind of got to go and work on those lower vibrations, lower energies, lower emotions somewhere else. But generally speaking, there's a whole bunch of people in the Bible. They talk about 144,000 people being like the 100th monkey number, which clearly we've reached that. A lot of people are starting to have those ahas, those synchronicities, those moments where you're like, oh my gosh, that was amazing. Miracles, right? Miracles are totally normal. So in this video, for anyone who doesn't know my story, I had a crippling knee surgery. No surgeon in the country could help me. Aaron Brockovich, thank you Aaron, was kind enough to offer to help me sue the surgeon. And at the time, I didn't want to do that. It didn't matter. I couldn't walk. I was crippled. I was completely off my game, and I have a family to take care of. So I did the only thing that in my Catholic upbringing I know how to do. Now, if you're not Catholic, don't listen to what I'm saying in terms of religion. If you were raised in Taoism, you would turn to whatever your innocent childlike heart was raised to trust in. So whatever vein of spirituality works for you, that's what works for you. So no judgments, no nothing. But I was raised Catholic and had seen Jesus, what I call Jesus, when I was a little girl. So I have a huge, deep, unshakable faith in the conscious light. Think about that. Conscious light. We read stories about Jesus lighting up, Moses' face lights up. So I prayed in my bathroom, in my bathtub, to this consciousness that I have come to know as Jesus, and I said, basically, listen dude, you're the only guy who ever walked this planet that said, as I have done, so can you and more. And he also said, of myself I can do nothing. Meaning, it wasn't about him, it was something bigger than him, right? So I prayed and I called out and I said, I need your help. You gotta come back. I saw you when I was 4. You gotta come back, no one can help me. And he did. This gorgeous, gossamer entity of light shining in my bathroom, which if I could have fallen further than the tub I would have, came and spoke with me and started teaching me and started conveying what up to this point, up to now, science and other sections of the world have called secrets of the universe that aren't actually secrets, which is wonderful because all the information that I was gifted lines up with things that are already on the planet perfectly. Complete examples of the mirrors of miracles that are going on all day, every day in everybody's lives. So what does that mean for you? It means, number one, you're empowered. Very important. And number two, there's a key to how you get to leverage that power. That key is unconditional love. It's a really important key for all of us. I had to break down a lot of definitions in my brain to comprehend what unconditional love means. But that's for a different video. This video is to present you with, now that you know my backstory, what is happening to a lot of people in what's being called the awakening is you're starting to see in real time how your projection and your projection of your ideas and your thoughts and your definitions, this is where I'm going with this, I'm going to definitions, very important, are coloring your experience of your life for good or bad. The good or the bad is also a definition that you decide what that means for you. Good generally meaning I feel better, bad generally meaning I feel worse. Not a morality thing. So I wanted to talk about definitions. Because once you start to understand how you can play with, break down, and deconstruct definitions and symbols and signs, and I mean signs like signs from the universe to guide you on in your life, it can become way more playful and way more joyful. So back to initial teachings that I learned. It's all one thing. What? One thing? Well, we use the term God, and then more recently in the past 20 years, we've started to call God source energy, and we also have the terminology all that is. That's easy, right? So if we call it God, God would obviously be all that is, or all that is what some people call God. Doesn't matter what you call it. I think Lao Tzu was the one who said, once you name it, you've lost it. You can't really name the nameless, because it will shift in form, and it will always one-up you, which is actually very cool. You want it to one-up you. For example, scientists can sometimes observe a particle and then boom, it moves, and they can't explain why. You can observe it and then it shifts. Well, that's a built-in mechanism into this system. So that's getting a little bit too far out there. What does this mean for you? How do you break down your definitions? You with me? It's going to all start with neutral nothingness. Just like think air. Just astronomically space. There's no thing whatsoever. And then imagine there's one teensy weensy consciousness. And if you don't know how to you do, but if that's kind of awkward to imagine, try accepting the fact that you're conscious. So consciousness exists. That's easy then, right? Because you're conscious. So then from there, if it's just neutral, it's like not formed, it's unformed, then that consciousness can do, and it's infinite, ever and ever and ever, then your consciousness clearly came from that consciousness, and there's a relationship there. Because if there's a nothingness consciousness which encapsulates everything, and you're in there, you are in that consciousness, you're conscious, you're self-aware. Let's draw your hands all the way to the edge of your own universe. Then it's easier to imagine in your own mind how what you're, we all know everything's vibration, we all know about electrons, we all know about electromagnetic frequencies from your brain, you know, synapse, and your cells and all that are constantly moving and shifting. That's how you're alive. Then this is an easy way for you to, at the minimal level, comprehend that like you're having a relationship with things that are outside of you. But that's the word I'm looking for. The synthesis of that relationship is all yours. What does that mean? It means that if you don't know what the word purple means, it's like a foreign language, and then I say purple, it's going to have zero impact on your experience of your reality because it has no meaning. You don't have a definition for it. It's meaningless. It's just raw sound. And if you're seeing me, then I'm just this light being that's talking gibberish to you. But what is happening is there's, in your mind, there is an receiving of signals or information, whether you're walking down a store aisle, taking in the sights, like looking for that label of something you want. And there's also the imagination, you living in your head, having ideas, having thoughts. And there's also the sounds, the sight and the sounds. So there's these wavelengths floating all around you. And sometimes you're just reacting to them. Sometimes you're really focused and in control of them. So you, as you're awakening, can start to realize that you are totally in control of how you perceive what's coming back to you. Now you could put your hand over your eyes and put plugs in your ears and go into a deep meditation and realize that you can have intense, and lots of you guys do, experiences and communications with other consciousnesses that are like way out there from, we call these channels, right? People that channel Archangel Michael, Jesus, all kinds of things. So how is that working? Well, it's easy. That one particle, that one all that is, whether it's as big as a universe or as small as a pinhead, it's still the same thing. Having through you, you send out an idea, you get an answer. You send out an idea, it bounces it back. You send out a conversation, it comes back. This gets cool in a minute here. Just trust me on this. Because you can only think one thought at a time. So this is the same particle moving to different topics, different ideas. And you, as a physical being, are getting to enjoy your consciousness realigning with yourself, because there's nowhere to go except up and out and bigger and here and now. Only one moment, only one thing. It's kind of overwhelming, but stay with me. DNA, double helix, I'm not going to draw it so well, is a perfect example. People know that DNA is code. It is information, right? And it's the same thing. It's just we can see the communication of that. And as we evolve, we become more complex. That what people call junk DNA starts to come online because you're having multiple quantum information. You're able to handle more information. It's kind of like you started out in kindergarten with double DNA, and then we evolve and we can handle more information in one moment. So you might be having an awareness of all of these at the same moment in time. That's pretty good stuff. That takes a lot of talent without going crazy. Some people might think they're going crazy. You're not going crazy. You're just, we're evolving. We're coming into our own. And to understand and access these things, you clear out old, outdated definitions. And I'll give you an example of an old, outdated definition. An easy one. I'm trying to think of an easy one. I can think of a lot of complex ones, but an old, outdated definition. Well, we used to think the world was flat. Now we know it's round. Now we know it's quantum. Now we know it's a mirror, that reality pops into being surrounding you and then it goes away. We've been studying Abraham Hicks. We're starting to learn about vibration, so you can be walking down the same street as someone else and you're having a completely different experience than someone else is having. They're having a great day, you're having a bad day, or vice versa. So we're starting to see how our consciousness is interacting in the quantum field of all of existence, which is made up of these guys. One thing, but at different frequencies, experiencing different things. So all of these experiences are happening simultaneously. Wrap your head around that by imagining 7 billion people standing on one rock all at the same time, having completely different thoughts, even though they all come from the same source. So the unconditional love piece of that, in terms of living in a community on planet, is you have to recognize, we use the word namaste a lot, I recognize the God in you, the equality. In the United States Constitution, all men are created equal for the pursuit of happiness. So you can't, judgment will no longer work. And if you're still operating on a system, like a lower grade computer system, that has judgments, those are like full stop walls, because you can't play with these energies if you're judgmental or you think someone's bad, or you're still imagining that you're separate from this energy, this God force, the love energy. It can't open up to you because you're still in a mentality that said it's us and them. Now, how can you find examples in your life of how that is actually being revealed to you? If you go to my Vine channel or my Instagram, or I have a YouTube playlist somewhere, wherever those links are on these things. And what I learned, what I understood and was a little bit blown away from, which is so cool, is not only is there one particle vibrating at different frequencies in terms of thoughts and ideas, it's also vibrating different frequencies in terms of light. Even more fun, because it's all from the same source, it's having conversations with itself. And we call them male-female. The whole love story, every love song is about this guy and this girl. And it's that male-female, one thing, yeah, come on marker, one thing, that infinity loop. And you start to see that relationship, Mother, Father, God, gently waking up all of humanity in any way it possibly can to higher and higher frequencies of love. For example, Bono, great song lyric. You let me into a conversation only we could make. You're breaking into my imagination, whatever's in there, it's yours to take. This is a song for someone. So that quantum field communicating back to him and to you and me and everyone. By then I'd already realized that I had a key to the music piece, because it all starts to make sense after that. So when you're driving and you feel like the music is speaking to you, it is. It is. That was one of my requests to God, but maybe we'll get into my requests to God and how all my answers came true. One of my requests was that no one should have to do this alone, and what I meant by this was wake up. I had been awakened before, many, many years ago. We're not going to go back to that. But prior to your awakening, I had been awakened before, so when all this stuff started re-sparking in my consciousness as I learned to heal my knee, I wasn't probably half as freaked out as some of you guys might be. So, my way of saying, my way of expressing my appreciation for my ability to handle all this information is to help anybody and everybody who wants to communicate with me, talk with me, watch my videos, email me, whatever, I don't care, to give you things that will spark your synapses to help you gain more vibrational control in your life, to understand what the clues mean. Because no one's going to experience what you experience, and no one can see what you see the way you see it, and no one's going to hold the same definitions of those things as you. There's many similarities, there's some baseline things to starting points, but in terms of the color and the feel and the joy of your life experience, that's all for you. It's all for you. You're sitting on the side of the ocean and you're having these incredible aha moments. That is all for you, because the quantum field wants every one of its perspectives, of which there are infinite numbers, to play. What? Yeah. Welcome to the wild side. Take a walk on the wild side. Do 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 do. It's all for joy. Because when you are done integrating maybe this idea, then you're gonna, just like a kid in a candy store or in a toy store, when you're done playing with that idea, that thought, that toy, you are ready to move on to another one. So you kind of just want to enjoy and savor the higher awareness that you've integrated into yourself, and appreciate that you were able to have that experience and then move on to the next one. It's the old world attachment of like, well, I figured this out and this is how it is. But it's not. Remember, the particle will move. When humans, or any consciousness, tries to create dogma, the universe itself will shift to keep moving, to keep growing, to keep expanding. It will crumble eventually. Not to hurt anyone or in judgment of them, but because that idea and that perspective is only good for that experience. For as much joy as you, for progress. Because once you're done riding horses and now you're driving cars, you don't get on a soapbox and say, get back on the horse. It's not how it works. It's not what it's for. For example, we've gone from televisions to iPhones. So you don't have to wait to get informed anymore. You don't have to wait to get you don't have to go to the library anymore. And pretty soon you'll be off your phone and just in your own imagination, but that's down the road. So, definitions. When I woke up, one of my things, I was an English major, I've studied philosophies my whole life, and one thing that I love about the English language is you can break it down, pull it apart, and stretch it out, and remold it. And so as I was healing, and I was way up in here, looking at all these different perspectives and ideas, I started studying Egyptology and ancient scripts, and I was like, whoa, it's all the same. It's all the same thing. And it's all saying the same thing. It's this I love you too perspective. It's amazing. But even better, these are like sentences. Think of like big ideas. When you break it down to just the structure of the letters themselves, taking it down to the little kid who just got born and doesn't know how to speak and they're just learning how to communicate, it's even more fun. And it can be more fun for you. Why? Because we all drive and we see license plates. We all go to the store and we see letters and we see signs and we see language. And the universe will play with you through words, through songs, as we said, through sounds, through movies, through synchronicities, but also just through individual letters, of which on my Instagram I'm breaking down the alphabet in the definitional form that I've come to play with. You don't have to take mine, make up your own. It's all for fun, right? But the one piece that I noticed is most letters, most, not all, but for me, maybe not you, start with a base of a dot, that singularity, that one, and then create mirrors with different meanings that are quite fun, but also can give you an idea of where you're at in your head, in your life, or in your day. They are not hard and fast rules. For me personally, I just get clues for like, oh, what was I thinking about? I'm so like way off and thinking about stupid YouTube cartoons when I'm supposed to be making this video, right? So I'll get feedback. It's just feedback. Like I'm out there way off on the land. I need to be back over here. I need to loop back into what I wanted to be doing. So how does that work? So the letter A, it was that single point. The way I enjoy defining the letter A is as if this is the sun. These are like two supports. This is where you are. This is where you want to be. This is really sturdy. It's supported in the middle. It's completely equal. You're in a really good spot, like solid foundation. Well, that's the alpha. The letter O is this, the omega, the beginning and the end. But it also, when you close that letter A up, and there's no like mirror, that base to me is a mirror, you just have a letter I, which, oh, think about that. Oh, I, like you, just the singular. And then when you mix the I with the sun, and you bring in the omega, this is awesome as far as I'm concerned, you have the no perspective and the perspective of the all, which is also 1010101010 binary code. So it's all communicating with itself, and you are a part of that, so you get to play with it from your own perspective. You want to have your own input, because what you're playing with isn't what I'm playing with, right? I'm living here, you're living there. So what I'm working on and expanding is different from what you're working on and expanding, but we're all extensions of this same oneness that is. So sometimes we run into each other and we talk on the phone or we email, but then we kind of move on to the next idea and then the next idea and the next idea. Sometimes we cross the party lines and come over here. Sometimes we travel around the world and go visit this person, but you're still playing with the same basic particle, unconditional love, and you can start to let that comfort you and soothe you, and that you're not crazy, you haven't lost your mind. Yes, you can be hearing information from different star systems or groups way out in the cosmos, because it's all one board, it's all one moment, and it's all resonating using the same information. So when you send out a request, it's going to bounce back to you from somewhere Ask and you shall receive, seek and you shall find, knock and it shall be opened for you. That's what all that meant. So, your cells communicate constantly. Your thoughts communicate. Definitions. Sorry, almost forgot. That was an important part. Your definitions are really important because if you have a definition that can't hold a paradox, I'll speak for me. If I have a definition that can't hold a paradox, I'm stuck because I'm leaning all to one side. What does that mean for you? I'll show you how I play with it. Like I said, these are just the things I do. This is the tools that I've been using for 4 years. As everyone's been waking up, I was offline meditating the whole dang time. For example, the word, or the number one is also one. Like we're all one. Okay, that was really wet. Excuse me. I need a paper towel. Sorry about that, guys. I'm still here. Woo! Thank you for being so chillaxed. All right, so that's our dog Maya. Maya, meet the family. Family, meet Maya. So Maya. So when you think of the number one, you think of totally alone, just singular. But it also includes. Remember, I'm talking about letters and definitions. Hang on one sec. It also includes these letters. The singular, which would also be the 1001, the binary code. The letter N, which for me has to do with having a connection to the earth, like a kneeling, like a firm foundation with the earth by yourself. That's a whole different thing. I'll get to the letter N in my Instagram thing later. The letter E, which is energy in mathematics. So we've got everything, all of it, connected to the earth with energy, which when you're standing on the earth, your resonant energy, yay! That wasn't a very good face, was it? We'll put sunglasses on him. Having a relationship with the earth as a singularity, but also as part of the whole. So when you can remember that you are singular, but yet you're part of the whole, that is a paradox that you can walk around with, so you can have your own distinct personal experience, but at the same time honor and respect that everyone else gets to have that too, that your viewpoint isn't the only viewpoint that's valid at any given moment in time. They're all valid. Does that help? So when your definition can include everything, as well as in your own experience exclude everyone because it's just for you, that's a nice balanced paradox. That's the unconditional love piece. So when you feel frustrated or down or something's getting your attention and making you feel icky, that is usually a definition that you're holding, that's holding you back. Because if you think you're the only one who's got it going on, then you're going to miss out on all these other ideas and people because you're going to be just not moving. You're going to be stuck on your own definitions, and sooner or later you're going to hit that wall, and something that is not, whatever your sticking point, you'll have to find it. And then once you break on through to the other side, another song, break on through to the other doors, then you move on to something else. Break down those walls, those definitional walls. So as you can see now why I do music, because it's all guidance. Music is your guiding friend while you're on this planet. If you ever feel stuck or you need an instant mood change, a song. So feel free to follow me on Vine if you want to do that. I post songs at least once a day just about, and I also have a playlist so that you can go get some information, keep you informed mentally, but also in a form, in a place in your imaginary world that feels good to you. All right, this is Christina from I Am Publishing. Please leave me questions and comments. Follow me on my other stuff if you want to and ask me questions. I love questions. I love people picking my brain about how I've come to see all of this awakening. And thank you, Suzanne Lai, Peter Melchizedek, and a bunch of other people that have blogs and stuff that have really, really helped me integrate a lot of information. It's great to meet all of you. All right, God bless, and see you next time. Hey guys, this is Christina from I Am That I Am Publishing. For a lot of you who watch my videos, you know I mostly do spiritual stuff. This video is a little bit more 3D, meaning I'm going to talk about politics and motherhood and children and address some of the world leaders out there who manage this planet. It's a little bit awkward that I have a lot of clarity in my brain. I had not ever intended to open my mouth about this stuff, but really cool things have been happening. We've got Bono's gone back to Africa to do some charity work. We have Justin Trudeau in Canada who is supporting not just the poorer families in his country, but supporting the One campaign, which has to do with addressing extreme poverty. I'm going to start right there. First of all, before I start there, I want to say thank you for watching. Thank you for taking the time out of your very busy lives, because we all have a lot going on, to listen to a woman that you've never met, that probably, in the words of my college professor, knows more than is for her own good. Pull together some ideas that we're all working on right now. This planet is blowing up with unity, oneness, caring, love, appreciation, and kindness. And this video is aimed to not tell people what to do or what I think, but to throw in some ways of looking at what we're doing that may shorten the distance between where we are and where we want to be. That being said, thank you, Justin Trudeau. I am a single mom in America, and I have, by what I would call the grace of God, had to walk through hell and understand what it means to live in a first world country and deal with the parameters of dealing with the government, dealing with the paperwork, dealing with the court system, dealing with dads who don't show up. And that's fine, guys, because if you guys are watching this, you know I love you and you're good men. But not everybody wants to do what a mom wants to do. This is really important for all of us, whether you're my sister in poverty or you're my friend in the government. Not everybody wants to be a parent. Not everybody wants to raise a child. Not everybody wants to have that experience, and that needs to be really okay. It doesn't sound proper in the sense of how we've been doing things, but it is intelligent in the sense of how life can better unfold in a joyful way for everyone. And I'm going to fall back on the Constitution. All men are created equal, and everyone has the right to the pursuit of happiness. And then the 14th Amendment has to do with privacy and the right to raise your family the way you want to, unless you prove yourself to be unfit, blah, blah, blah. What does that mean to world leaders? It means that when you recognize there are these women who are bringing through their bodies these citizens, believe me, they love you. Your mom loves you. She might have been ridiculously stupid or ignorant or lost or unsure of what she was doing, because the world is not easy to navigate. But that love factor is like a cellular encoded frequency. Love is always there. And even if your own personal mom didn't demonstrate to you as much love as you might have preferred, the caring for your being on the planet is surrounding you at all times. Now, what does that matter politically? It matters a lot, because politicians and world leaders have to find a way to navigate how do we support the existence, the lifetime of these souls that are having life experiences, financially, physically, you know, economics, all of that, and experientially, and I mean that on a daily basis, in a way that is respectful and kind and loving. One of the challenges, I wanted to call it a problem, because to me it is a problem, but it's just a challenge. One of the challenges in the first world is we have established a court system. that tells the mother, the carrier and birther of this soul that's come to planet Earth to experience life, that she is instantaneously a ward of the court if she's below the poverty level. This is important because most women in other countries, if you start to scale the economics, the dollars and the cents of it, are going to fall below that poverty line. And without meaning to, what governments are doing in the UK, in Ireland, in all Western countries, is we're trapping these moms in a court-ordered system of visitation and sometimes child support, trapping the dad in a tightwad system, so we're sort of shortening their freedoms to pay for this child. Now, a lot of government leaders would say, well, duh, you know, we don't want to foot the bill for this kid being on the planet, and we get that. We totally get that. We are more than happy to work. feeds back to you in the sense that you end up leaving a legacy of incredible trust in the fecundity. What a great word, right? Sorry, I was an English major, I love that word. The fecundity of planet Earth and the pursuit of happiness. Then the United States Constitution starts to make a little bit more sense. You start to see how prior to you even being born, there was a laid out plan or an idea or an opportunity, better said, because it's off free will, an opportunity for you to participate in allowing this planet to do what this planet does amazingly well, which is support life, which is support experience, which is support love. And that rolls back to the mother piece, which is every mom really, when you carry a baby, you love your child and you pray and hope and wish and look and work for opportunities for that child to experience their life experience in such a way that supports their love of themselves. So it comes back to self-love, but it always comes back to love. So Bono of U2, I don't know why I like you. So many people hate you. I'm so sorry for that. But it was a really cool song when he says when love comes to town, because when you bring your love to town, to the community, to the world, you can be like, hey, I don't really care what's gone before. This infrastructure, there's a lot of disgruntled people. There's a lot of moms that are, I call it the invisible prison because I live in it. I have 2 kids, 2 dads, 2 court cases, and the invisible prison is where I'm not allowed to move. I can't do this and I can't do that without court approval. And it dawned on me like, wow, if I'm doing this, and how many other moms are like trapped in this invisible wall of you have to live here for these 18 years of your life. It doesn't matter how great the opportunities might be over there, you can't go there. You're not allowed because you're now a ward of the state. And in the United States, and all apologies to the United States government, you guys did a really good job and I got it, I get it, but it's not serving the thriving of what this country was based on. We have laws that, what's that word? Supplement the states when they find a 90 percentile of dads that are lacking in child support. It's a kickback, that's what they call it. It's a kickback to the states and like the millions and millions and millions of dollars that the states get for getting dads to pay for their own kid. And there's logic behind that, and that's all well and good because these programs have to be funded. But there's illogic in that it's preventing mothers who have sole custody from shifting their reality around in such a way that could allow their children and themselves to contribute better to the state. And if it's a money game, that's very restrictive. If it's a happiness game, still restrictive. If it's a economic boom game, still restrictive, because it inadvertently creates daily stresses on the mother. Some people want to say, tough shit lady, right? You don't really want to say tough shit lady when you look ahead 18 years and you realize you want intelligent, loving, compassionate citizens in your country. You want kids that were raised with love and kindness and won't tolerate ridiculous ideas, that won't tolerate crime, that won't tolerate bullying. You can't raise a child in a prison cell and then ask them to go out into the world at 18 and be loving and kind. It just doesn't work. It doesn't work. It's not working. So the funny thing about the world economy is when we're dealing with the currency, the money that pays to move things around, when you realize as a leader you have enough currency to move whatever you need to supply yourself, and you remember that it can be really, really amazing to leave that ultimate legacy of joy for others. Justin Trudeau, Bono, Bill Gates Foundation. Then the currency becomes a tool for almost laughable joy. And in doing that, if you can also remember, this planet is so fecund, it's never going to run out. and the more we align with its ability to support all life, you don't have to destroy human beings and whittle down the population so that you can control them. You can relax and understand the only thing all those so-called mechanized slaves that you're worried about rebelling against you, they didn't want what you have. They just wanted to have a good day and a good moment and some good memories with their family. And then your fears as leaders drops through the floor and you realize nobody's coming to take what you have. Nobody even wants what you have. Nobody's frustrated because of what you have. It's all in your imagination. And in gifting the people of the planet the freedom to experience their lifetimes in a loving, joyful, uplifting way, actually, if you're worried about your prosperity, because as I come to understand it, some people think someone wants their power, you suddenly realize they trust you. And trust